Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Closing Comments here on November 5th. Let's jump right into our charts and see what happened in the markets today. December live cattle on the board to start us off, as always. Another tough day here in the cattle market as prices continue to push lower. Yesterday's action saw some pretty heavy selling pressure, and we did see that momentum just carry right over into today's session. Prices breaking down off the opening range today, pushing down here below Friday's low at 227, also continuing through this bear pivot at 225 before finishing the day limit down at 220.52 on this December contract. Selling pressure is on. Bears are rolling here at the moment, looking like this thing is just going to keep on making new lows. Next stop is this 200-day moving average here, but with the limit down move today, we will have expanded limits tomorrow, so we do have some downside here to look forward to as we do have the selling pressure on here. Look for the bears to keep on grinding lower here. This 200-day moving average is going to be about the only line left here for the bulls to hold on to. But below that, we should see this thing just continue to move on down here. And at the moment, this market is moving, and not a whole lot to support this thing at the moment. Look for the sellers to keep on pushing. Remain defensive and cautious here while this market continues to trade in some wide ranges, and we continue to have elevated volatility here. Selling pressure is just going to keep on moving this market lower here at the moment. Look for the downside to continue here throughout the next couple days. Next up, January feeders. Same story here today. This market hit the ground running. Yesterday we did have some pretty nice selling pressure as this market pushed down here towards those prior week's lows. Today we opened up and pushed right through that bear pivot at 326.82, and this thing moved the limit down here in a pretty quick fashion. Next stop here is this 315 area at this 200-day moving average, but with the expanded limits here as we move into tomorrow's session, we could see some pretty wide ranges continue here. Selling pressure is on. Look for this thing to keep on grinding lower as this cattle market is continuing to unravel. Next up, December corn futures on the board. This market continues to chop up here around this 426 to 435 area. Today we did see this market just snap right back up to the toward those prior day highs, finishing the day up here with a close right around the 435 area. Good push higher here, back above this bull pivot by the bulls here today. However, this market just continues to be choppy in this area. So far here in the evening session, we are seeing this thing push back down here towards our bull pivot. If the bulls are able to keep this thing rallying and get some of these prior day highs to clear, we could see this uptrend finally kick into gear and see this market start to climb back up here towards the mid $4 range. But at the moment, this price point here between 425 and 435 has been pretty sticky and choppy, so we could see this chop continue. Bulls need to get some continued follow through above some of these prior day highs and retest those prior week's highs as well. Above those areas, we could see this thing start to unravel or start to unfold into a nice uptrend. But at the moment, this price point has been pretty sticky. Look for the chop to continue until we can get some of these prior day highs to clear. Crude oil prices continuing with some nice downside here today, retesting that prior day's high briefly at one point before finishing the day on the lows, briefly undercutting that bear pivot at 59.64 before finishing the day right on top of that pivot at 59.64. At the moment, looking like the bears are going to keep on pushing here. Pretty nice selling pressure here to start this week so far, and if the bears are able to keep on getting offers down here below this 59.64, we should see this thing continue to bleed down here into the mid-50s. Downtrend still remains intact. Look for the sellers to keep on grinding into tomorrow's session. Equity indexes showing a little bit of balance action here today. We did see most of that downside coming in the overnight session last night. Closing comments from the 4th probably marked the low as that market was down about 40-50 points when we talked last night. However, we did see a nice little rally into the day session today. This market rallying back up there briefly above 68.43 before settling back into the close. At the moment here, we are seeing pretty good support here at this 20-day moving average. As anticipated, this dip is looking to be a pretty good buying opportunity here. We've seen some pretty constructive action in some of the underlying names here, so looking pretty supportive here at the moment. Bulls want to try and turn this thing back up, get some continued offer or bids back above 68.43. Today's high is coming in at 68.57. Bulls want to get a close back above there to get this uptrend back on track and see this market continue to climb back into new high territory. At the moment here, looking like we're seeing some pretty good balance action. We want to see this thing continue to tighten up or clear some of these prior day highs, and we should see this thing continue to grind higher. Equity markets remain strong and healthy. Expect these prices to continue grinding higher into the end of the year. Thanks everyone for tuning in. That's all we got for this evening. We'll catch you guys tomorrow night.